Hello everyone, Randy here, and we're playing Farming Simulator 17 on the March map on the RDAllen multiplayer server, and just myself on here at the moment. And we got the John Deere, let's see, is this the 8530 or the 8370? She did not look at that when I started here. This is the 8370R. And we're pulling the John Deere disc here. In the game, it is considered a plow, so we are plowing. Like I said before, technically this should be more of a cultivator, not really a plow, but anyway. And we got a partially harvested field here, so we'll probably just do a couple passes on this field, and then we'll switch to doing something else here. Got a seeder lined up on field 15? Yeah, field 15 there. Got a seeder lined up, so we'll start doing that maybe, halfway through the video here or so, however long it takes us. Just to mix things up a little bit, that way we got something different to do. We're not just disking the whole episode. And for those of you who have not seen this John Deere 8370R, definitely a nice looking tractor. Not necessarily a fan of the tires. They look a little wide for at least what I would be used to seeing where I live. Be nice if it actually had the row crop duals on it. And I'm not sure if you could put front duals on this tractor or not. I know there's a lot of options in the shop for this particular tractor, so it is probably possible you can. And of course you have to watch out for the ditches here on this map. Do about 2 passes with a headland or so, and that seems to be about right for being able to turn around easily without having to worry about going in the ditch anyway. I don't know if we actually have that much room here or not with what's been harvested, but we'll get as close as we can. Oh, look, a John Deere 9770 with a case header on it. Oh boy. Be careful about hopping in that combine, I would say, folks. You'll probably get struck by lightning doing that. Case header on a John Deere combine. Boy, that's just wrong. Unfortunately, I know I've mentioned this before, those particular combines, the John Deere 9770s, do not come with their own headers, so it's really the only option is to use in-game header, or if you get a modded header, and I don't think I've seen any modded John Deere headers out yet. Actually, I shouldn't say that. I think the John Deere pack actually comes with one, so there actually might be some out now. But at the time we downloaded these John Deere 9770s, there was not any headers that came with that combine. And even back in Farming Simulator 15 as well, for a lot of the John Deere combines, there really wasn't any official John Deere headers. They were just reskinned in-game headers, which works. Not quite official John Deere header, but it does work. At least looks better than, putting a Case or New Holland header on the John Deere. And also just a reminder again for anybody that would like to join us on the multiplayer servers, information is in the description of this video below. There are 2 download links for both servers. First download link should download all the mods needed to join the server, and the second download link should take you to the server download page where you can download the mods individually. And just to keep in mind, when you use the download all link, you will have to extract that download. Because basically what it does, it takes all the mods and puts them into one zip file. So you need to make sure you extract that zip file. Otherwise the mods will not show up in your game and you will not be able to join the server. I know I had a comment from someone earlier this week. They were trying to join the server, and it's like, hey, I put the mod folder in my mods, but nothing's showing up. It's like, did you extract it? No. Okay, that's why. So yeah, make sure you extract that, and then the mods should show up. Disk is a little slow at lowering sometimes, it seems like. But with the mods, again, folks, it goes back to what I've said before. When installing mods, always make sure you open that mod file and check and make sure you see the mod descript XML. If you do not see that, there's something wrong. You either need to extract it further, the mod's no good, any other number of possibilities. If you cannot see it, more than likely the game cannot see it either, so it definitely will not work. There is a possibility the mod author hid the file in there. I think I've seen 1 or 2 mods like that, but that is pretty rare, so I wouldn't worry about that happening too often. And then also for joining the server, we do have a TeamSpeak server as well. And in order to join the multiplayer servers, we do have the multiplayer servers password protected, and you will have to get on TeamSpeak to get that password. Like I said in the past, we're just doing that as an extra step to keep any troublemakers off, or help keep any troublemakers off. And for the most part, it works pretty good. And of course, we do have 2 multiplayer servers. Currently the one on the March map here. Now that is probably about to change. As you can probably tell, it's a little dead on the server here at the moment. That's because everybody's overplaying on server 1. And that would be Pleasant Valley. Now it is a beta version of Pleasant Valley, so I haven't really decided yet if I'm going to do much recording on that just yet. Might wait just a little bit. I understand there's still a lot more to come with that map yet, so it might wait. We'll see once. And of course, for those of you not familiar with Pleasant Valley, well, you're definitely missing out. Pleasant Valley, one of the more, I'm not entirely sure what to call that type of map. A lot more in-depth, I guess. There's a lot going on the Pleasant Valley maps. For those of you who played them in Farming Simulator 15, you'll know what we're talking about. We're not just talking farming here in Pleasant Valley maps. We're talking everything from mining to building factories and just all kinds of other things that go on those maps. And like I said, the version we currently have on the server is a beta version. There's supposedly still a lot more to come yet. So in the next, sounds like a couple of weeks, they'll really be adding a lot to it. So might wait a little bit. We'll see once. Obviously, at this point in the map, there's really not much more going on than what you see right here. It's pretty much just a farming map with some of the extras have been implemented. Namely, some of the mining is in the game already. Also heard from quite a few people that got Farming Simulator 17 for Christmas. Hope you folks are all enjoying that game. Also heard from a few people that got computers so they can play Farming Simulator on it now. And here's another reminder again, for anybody that's looking for a lot of the mods that I use or have, I do have a mod list in the description of this video below. You can check out that mod list. And it has most of the mods I have. Doesn't have all of them, reason being because some of the mods I have actually come from the multiplayer server, so, or from other folks on the multiplayer server. So I don't necessarily have original download links for them. But for the most part, all the mods I have downloaded, as well as a few others, are in that mod list. The John Deere 8370R here, I believe, should be on that mod list. You know, as well as, for example, the 9630 should be on there, and probably a few others. And of course, now that we're a couple months into Farming Simulator here, starting to see some better mods come out, as opposed to some of the poor quality converts that were happening initially. Actually starting to see some good converts and some good quality mods coming out. And that's a question I get asked quite frequently too. What mod sites or what mod site do I use? Well, it would be sites, because I pretty much just look at all of them. A couple good ones, of course. Mod Hoster is always a good mod site. At least when the mods are hosted on Mod Hoster anyway. I don't necessarily always trust some of the mods that are hosted on other sites that Mod Hoster has, but Mod Hoster for the most part is a good mod site. FSUK is another excellent mod site. Quantity there, not so much, but quality should be a lot better on FSUK. And then of course you got the Farming Simulator mod hub as well. Definitely seems like a lot more activity on that site for Farming Simulator here this time around, as opposed to 15 or earlier games. And one nice thing about the Farming Simulator, the plowing lower here. There we go. One nice thing about the Farming Simulator mod hub is dedicated servers can download directly from the Farming Simulator mod hub. Really, really nice feature there. So for those who have dedicated servers, you'll know what I'm talking about there. Really makes it easy to add mods, as well as for others to download your mods to join the server. Although I will have to say, I don't think I've ever seen any John Deere mods on the Farming Simulator mod hub. There's probably some licensing issues with that, I'm guessing. Anyway, looks like we maybe have one more pass on the field here, and like I said, we'll switch over to seeding here. We got another John Deere lined up over across the road there. And we'll just start reading some comments here a moment. Clifford was asking, how do you download mods for the PlayStation 4? This is a question I get asked quite frequently, either PlayStation or Xbox. I have neither one of those, so I cannot answer that question. And another question I've gotten asked too, if I have an Xbox or PlayStation, can I join you on the multiplayer server here? I don't believe so, probably for two reasons. One, you're on a console. I don't believe console players can join the dedicated server here. I could be wrong on that. And then also, you probably will not be able to get all the mods we have on the multiplayer server here. And that, I pretty much know is a fact. You won't be able to get some of the mods we have on the multiplayer server here, so that's probably the biggest reason right there. That looks like a fairly nice interior on this tractor. I don't believe I've actually looked at the interior yet. Is there IC? Yes, there is. IC, by the way, if you have the eye tracker, which I do, it's a little bit hard to use the IC sometimes. And all the looking around I'm doing right now is done by the eye tracker, so, which is really cool, by the way. But just gets a little annoying sometimes when you want to use an IC command. It's like, okay, you got to look wherever the IC command is. And I don't know why, but always looking backwards, at least in the way Farming Simulator 17 is, seems like it's really slow. I think they made that to be a little more realistic. For example, this is as far back as I can look with the eye tracker enabled. Now, if I look around the other way, Can I go a little further? That's about the limit. I can look backwards this way. So like I said, probably a realistic setting there that they've implemented for the eye tracking. And again, really cool. For those of you who have not seen that, check out the Tobii IX eye tracker. They now have I believe it's an eye and a head tracker, basically a version 2 of it. Looks really nice. I might have to look into getting that sometime and checking that out. To my knowledge, it also adds head tracking. And for those of you familiar with Farming Simulator 17, when it was released, it had head tracking support. So when you're using a loader, like if you lean forward, you can actually look up over the hood of your tractor somehow. Now I don't have that, so I can't actually do that, but that does sound like something interesting, and like I said, I might have to look into that in the future here. Okay, there we go. We'll call that good for the moment. And let's head over to... Oh, it's actually isn't in a group. Nope, 8530 is not the 9630s. Okay, so let's just tab. Actually, you know what? I think it was back tab. Yes, it was. Okay. So we got the John Deere 9630 here with the case flex drill. And we got it set on wheat. What do we currently have planted on the map? We got corn. Looks like that is wheat already, so let's maybe do... I don't see any canola. Let's do canola. Let's see, is that cedar actually that wide? Nah, I didn't think so. And we are seeding, correct? Yes, we are. Okay, just take a minute here, realign that. There we go. Like I said before with the GPS mod, sometimes you just need to start going straight, get yourself straightened out, and then recalculate the width. And in that case, we got rid of the offset there, which we did not need for this seeder. Okay, and back to the comments. Zarens was asking, or saying, who else thought you were going to turn on the GPS for the last little bit you were fertilizing there? Delcom was saying with the auto-loading trailer, I have the average trailer load for silage bales will net you 50K. Again, goes back to what I've said in a couple of the previous videos. Silage bales, definitely a good money maker there. Edward was saying something to be aware of. I'm not sure if it's my game or all the maps I've downloaded so far, but like 30 maps I've downloaded will not load. Not sure what maps he's downloading, so I can't say specifically what the issue is. But this much I will tell you, folks. Don't have any more maps in your mod folder than what you absolutely have to. So, you know, if you're playing on one map or maybe two, don't have any more maps in your mod folder. Keep that to a minimum. The maps are usually what will conflict with each other, and they're definitely one of the worst offenders for conflicting. Looks like I need to narrow this up just a little bit here because we're not quite getting overlapped enough. 13.2, sure, whatever, we'll go with that. So yeah, just like I was saying, just something to be aware of with the maps. Don't have any more than what you're playing in your mod folder, and I would suggest keeping that to, you know, 2 to 3 maps at the most. Obviously, you have the in-game maps, you shouldn't have to worry about those, but as far as modded maps go, preferably keep it to 1 would be my recommendation. Obviously, at this point, I've got 2. So you've got the March map here, and then I got Pleasant Valley. Now, I don't have them activated on, you know, for example, Goldcrest Valley. When I load that save game, those maps are not activated for that save game. So that should help, but I still would not guarantee that. George was saying you'll need a minimum of 60 cows to have at least one new cow reproduced every single day. Same for the sheep. Otherwise, they're just eating up your feed and money. I will have to keep that in mind. We'll have to boost the number of cows we have there on Goldcrest Valley. I think we only actually have 6 cows, if I remember correctly. And, of course, they have not reproduced at all yet. Should probably do a headland across here. George was also saying if you tune up the engine on your pickup truck at the machine shop, you can reach 76 miles per hour with it. And you can perform some really nice stump jumps on the ramp at Mary's farm. Or there's a ramp next to Field 1 as well. Oh, great. This is what we need. Speaking of miles per hour, let's see. It should be in the game now. I believe I mentioned this last episode there on Goldcrest. Oh, yes. There it is. The Valtra T234 WR edition goes 80 miles per hour. So just a bit fast for a tractor. I myself have not tried it out yet, but sounds interesting. Thomas was saying, on the cleaner in real life, it is used to push the feed up so that bit would turn with it as well. To push up the feed. Kind of makes sense there. George left a comment here. Oh, the weeder doesn't look good at that stage. What happened to trying to play the game as close to realistic as possible within the constraints of the game? I can see you don't have a lot of money, but really? About that. And yes, like I said before, folks, I do try to play the game as realistically as possible given the, limitations of the game, like I say. There's also one other limitation I put on that as well, and that is recording video at night. So in order to actually use the weeder properly, I would have had to use it during the night, and that is something I don't like to do for recording, is record during the night in-game. That just, in my opinion, doesn't produce a real good video. It's much better if you have daylight. So that is basically the main reason why I was using the weeder at that stage. If I didn't matter about the video so much, or if I wasn't recording, I would have absolutely done it at the right stage. But that is actually the main reason why it was done at that stage as opposed to technically the proper stage. Massey Farmer was saying, I wonder if you can put the tractors from Farm Sim, without doing anything to them, into spin tires. I have my doubts if you can drop them straight into spin tires. I'm pretty sure you'll have to do something to them. I don't know what the modding requirements for spin tires is. That's not something that I've ever actually looked into. But that would be rather interesting, that's for sure. I know that's something we've commented about before, is actually taking spin tires terrain mechanics and put it into Farming Simulator, and that would be quite impressive. Okay, let's actually do a headland across here so I don't have to sit here driving across this scrubby looking hedge thing. Now, mind you, in real life, the farmer would probably just come through here with a brush hog and just rip that thing down. So he could use that area to turn around in. Basically, if a farmer doesn't have to turn around on the field, he won't. For example, just down the road from us, we got a field that right up to the road, like right next to it, you know, a couple feet maybe. Actually, maybe 2 feet at the most, I'm going to guess. The farmer actually will just turn around on the road. Probably not necessarily the greatest thing for the road, I'm going to guess, but that's the way the farmer does it, so... Oh, let's not go that way. Get straightened back out here. I know I always hear a lot of comments about people complaining about how these articulated tractors turn and they're difficult to control with a keyboard. If you have a steering wheel, or probably even a controller, Xbox 360 controller or Xbox controller, something like that, probably a lot easier as well. But the steering wheel definitely makes these tractors a lot more fun to drive. Just the way an articulated tractor works, it makes it much easier if you have a steering wheel. You know, with a keyboard, you can only turn, you know, all the way one way or all the way the other way. Whereas with a steering wheel, I can turn just a little bit or a little bit the other way. Makes it really nice. And yes, I am using the Farming Simulator steering wheel, by the way, for those of you wondering. And I always call it the Farming Simulator steering wheel. I know technically it's the SATEC, what they call it, heavy equipment wheel or something like that. But I always call it the Farming Simulator steering wheel. Basically what it was made for. Luke was saying, keep it up. Love your videos. Thank you very much for that. One Best Sniper was saying, first comment, and hope you had a great Christmas. Thank you very much for that as well. Nick was saying, why don't you dump the seed and fertilizer bags into tippers instead of hauling them on trailers? In my opinion, I think it's a little bit easier to haul them in the bags as opposed to the tippers. Especially in my case, since I only really have, I think, what do I have, 2 tippers on Goldcrest Valley. At that point, I would pretty much use up my tippers, and then I would have to dump the tippers somewhere, make a pile with it. It's a little bit easier, in my opinion, if we just put them in, or leave them in the bags, essentially, the pallets. Makes it really nice for hauling them around. One thing I do need to get, and I do have them, I just keep forgetting to add them into my game, that is the larger seed pallets and fertilizer bags. I forget what size they are again. I think it's like 5,000 liters or 10,000 liters or something like that, as opposed to the one. Okay, why did you not lower? Now let's just turn around here again. Trying to back this up here with the articulated tractor and 2 attacher points. Not real good at that myself. There we go. Okay, and we'll end the episode here with one more comment. Carter was asking, how do I play with you? Well, I kind of mentioned it earlier in the episode here, but I'll mention it here again as we wrap up the video. If you would like to join us on the multiplayer servers, and like I said, we do have 2 of them. If you want to join us on Pleasant Valley, keep in mind that is a beta version of the map. Probably going to be a lot changing yet. Kind of why I'm not doing any videos on it yet. And then we also have the March map here, so either one of those. And links are in the description of this video, as well as any of my other multiplayer videos. You will not find it in a single player video. The multiplayer videos have the links for the downloads needed to join the server, as well as information for the TeamSpeak server. So with that, folks, we'll wrap up the video here. If folks have any comments or questions, be sure to leave them below. And as always, thanks for watching, and until next time.